Hi, this week's Weekly Roundup is chock full of SBCs, and I'm not going to mention that word that flags my videos with YouTube as being inappropriate. First up on Kickstarter, Dave Jones from EEV Blog has an update on his popular multimeter. Ah, bugger. I mentioned that word, didn't I? Oh great, now my video is going to be restricted. In conjunction with UEI test instruments, he's added some really cool features missing from multimeters, such as Bluetooth and SD card, so you'll be able to log measurements over time to the SD card. The mobile app can also view several multimeters at once and display a pretty little graph for you. Fantastic! Not only that, but it has a 15-volt diode test voltage, low burden voltage, VA power measurement, and a 0.05% accuracy. Auto hold and bar graph display running a hackable STM32 of 4 AA batteries. He's releasing it as open hardware and open source. This next campaign is for the Arduino, which is a board running an ATmega328P and SFM R10 Sigfox module. It also has FTDI and GPIO header pins, temperature, light and 9 DOF IMU sensors, powered from a single coin cell battery. The creator claims an uptime of 6 months, sending messages every 15 minutes, or 1 year sending daily. Another Pi hat, this one allows you to set up a cheap full duplex intercom over Ethernet. It has relay outputs for control of 12-volt devices, input buttons and camera interface, allowing you to set up a device-to-device or device-to-internet intercom. You can also configure it to work with existing PBXs, allowing you to set up a phone-to-device intercom. Nice. This next one was sent to me by one of my patrons. If you already own a Pi Zero, then you can upgrade it to effectively a Pi 3 with this docking hub. It breaks out the Pi Zero audio and also has a USB hub providing an additional 5 USB ports, a Realtek 100 megabit Ethernet chip and onboard power supply. Connectivity is via pogo pins, so no soldering required. I'm not completely sold on this one. It's a good idea, but for the price tag of 68 Australian dollars, I could get a Pi 3. This next one is for an optically isolated USB board. If you're hacking around with your own PCBs, then I'd strongly suggest looking into one of these. I've already had one computer die on me due to USB and power related issues. And yes, it had to happen. For those lazy people, you can now pick up a game playing robot that attaches to your Nintendo 3DS. The Pi Talk is up on Kickstarter. This is a board that converts your Pi into a fully fledged mobile phone. Has onboard LDO for power, QuickTel UC15 mobile module, and breaks out audio and USB. You can use it for voice calls, SMS and data connections. Nice. Working with PCBs can be a fiddly business. I often use Blu-Tack to hold things steady while probing. But this next one looks cool. The PC Byte connects magnetically to a base plate and has spring clips that can stabilize PCBs. There's also a flexible wire probe with magnetic base, so you can keep probes connected, freeing up your hands. Rabid prototypes are back on Kickstarter with the Neutrino 3.0. This one contains this SAM-D21, which is essentially an Arduino Zero, but in a small 36 by 18mm package. It breaks out all the good stuff from the SAM-D21, and the pre-flashed firmware will work with the Arduino IDE, or it also has onboard SWD for programming without the Arduino IDE. GameDuino is back on Kickstarter. Version 3 of this Arduino Shield now has an FT810 graphics processor, which is backwards compatible with the FT800. It delivers 4 times more power, allowing 30 frames per second compressed video playback on a 480 by 272 LCD touchscreen. X-Control is an industrial PCB with a socket for the Arduino MKR PCB series. It has 7 digital inputs and 7 digital outputs that are isolated, 8 kilobytes EEPROM, DS2331 RTC, and the extension board adds another 8 inputs and 8 outputs, all rated at 12 volts. If you ever need a high precision voltage reference, then this DIY kit will provide a steady 5 volts at 0.005 volt resolution from 2 AA batteries. Note he has said that fresh batteries are required to maintain that resolution. This next one is a little late for your Christmas LED lights. It's a board designed around 6 of the Meanwell LDDH driver modules, which are DC to DC converters. allows you to drive up to 84 LEDs at 1.5 amps with a maximum rating of 375 watts and allows PWM control over the 6 channels. Patrick Thomas Mitchell is back with his 25th Kickstarter. This one is a simple RFID Arduino shield. From what I can see, instead of a dedicated RFID chip, he's using a PIC MCU running off A+ flash to emulate the RFID comms. Interesting. And next up on Kickstarter, the Latte Panda guys are back. They must have seen my gag on shoehorning OS X onto a Latte Panda and taken it seriously, as there's now a campaign for the Latte Panda Alpha and Delta. What makes these the ultimate hackable computer? Well, first of all, the Alpha runs an Intel i7 Core M3 SoC, which is exactly the same as the latest MacBook, and the Delta runs the Celeron N4100. They also have onboard 64 or 32 gig eMMC, 8 or 4 gig DDR4 RAM, 2 M2 ports, gigabit Ethernet, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, up to 3 graphic outputs over HDMI, eDP and touch display, USB-C, 3 USB 3.0 ports, RTC, micro SD slot, audio jacks and an Arduino Leonardo pushing out 50 GPIOs, all in a small footprint that is smaller than an iPhone Plus. The Alpha is up for $289 and the Delta is around $130. Holy cow, Batman. I was almost not going to bother checking on Indiegogo until I found the Renegade SBC from LibreComputer. They have 3 models, all housed in the familiar Pi form factor, running an RK3328 SoC, gigabit Ethernet, USB 2.0, USB 3.0, eMMC, SD slot, IR receiver and all the usual GPIOs. The 3 different models give you either 1, 2 or 4 GB DDR4 RAM. Over at Crowd Supply there's the IQ drone in pre-launch. This is a motor with integrated controller which claims to bring professional grade motor control to your drones. It provides features such as anti-cogging, reduced motor vibration, sinusoidal and trapezoidal commutation, which gives you efficiency or increased power, freewheeling, braking and other cool things. Comms is over serial, D-Shot or standard PWM. And there's nothing new on group gets this week. Nvidia are offering the Jetson TX1 at a discounted price for developers for $199. All you have to do is sign up and provide a blood sample to get access to the limited 1 unit only per person price. Okay, maybe not blood sample, but close enough. Over at Hackaday, they are running a coin cell competition with 3 categories. The Lifetime Award for the longest running project, the Supernova Award for the most interesting project, and the Heavy Lifting Award for anyone who can lift a piano with a coin cell. Lifting piano? This next one I picked up from Linux Gizmos. It's a board made by a company called Varmers. Varmers? I think you pronounce it like farmers but with a V. It's an RK3399 based SBC with 4 gigs DDR3 RAM, 8 gig eMMC, SD slot, gigabit Ethernet, USB 3.0 ports, 40 pin Pi GPIO header, and a 314 pin MXM connector pushing out a whole lot more. It's designed to slot into the fantastically named Excavator, which has 2 HDMI ports, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, gigabit Ethernet, and PCIe interfaces. The Friendly Guys have released another SBC called the Nano PC T3 Plus. Like the previous version, it runs the same Samsung SoC, but now has 2 GB DDR3 RAM and 16 gig eMMC, and gains an extra USB port. Apart from that, everything else is the same. This next one I picked up from CNX Software, which is a new SBC from iWave Systems. Based on the almost Pi form factor, it runs the dual or single core Cortex A7 Renesas RZ and has 512 MB DDR3 RAM, expandable to 2 gigs, 8 gig eMMC and all the usual I/O stuff, except it has an additional 40 pin and 20 pin header on top of the standard Pi GPIO header, powered off a 5V 2A power supply from one of those micro USB connectors. Over at MyIR, they have released an $18 module based on the IMX6UL. Breaking out on the 1mm pitch castellated edge connectors are 140 pins of GPIO goodness. But this new module gives you Wi-Fi capabilities. Nice option if you want to be able to run a Wi-Fi enabled Linux in a tiny package. But I've heard that MyIR documentation isn't that good, so caveat emptor. Google released the TensorFlow earlier in the year, which brings vision machine intelligence to the maker. Well now, for only $45 US, you can pre-order a kit from either Adafruit, DigiKey or Micro Center containing a Pi bonnet running the Movidius MA2450 processor, camera, lens, piezo buttons and a bit of cardboard to make your own standalone box. All you need is a Pi 0W and you can build your robot army in no time. And not to be outgunned, Amazon have just released the AWS Deep Lens, which is another machine learning device with a 4 megapixel camera and an Apollo Lake series Intel SoC. So pretty grunty, it provides a fairly similar lineup to Google's TensorFlow, but runs Amazon's version of FreeRTOS. Hang on, Amazon has a version of FreeRTOS? Yes, that's right, they certainly do. They've gone and taken FreeRTOS and added in enhancements such as AWS Cloud or Greengrass connectivity, security and OTA programming. FreeRTOS runs on pretty much all MCUs these days, and good to see that these sorts of enhancements are being made available. Over at Reddit, there's a post about the demise of the RK3288. This is pretty interesting as the RK3288 has been around for only 4 years, has started to run on boards such as the Tinkerboard and Ricoh 3288, and only just started to gain some decent support for it. Is this true? Who knows? So far, the only pointer is this Reddit post and nothing else. The Armbian guys are busy with releases, and there's now a minor point release of version 5.35, which actually adds in support for a whole lot of SBCs. Boards such as the NanoPi Duo, Orange Pi R1, Pinebook have stable releases, while experimental support has been added for Le Potato, NanoPi Neo 2, Orange Pi 0 Plus and 0 Plus 2. It also runs mainline kernel version 4.13 and an updated U-boot. Nice. So if you want an image that works on a whole stack of boards, go and fetch Armbian. And over at Tindie, there's just a few things. This kit is a solar tracker that contains an Arduino, servo motors, laser cut wood and sensors. So all you need is a screwdriver and PC and you're set. Here's another USB power meter, runs the AT-SAM D09 with OLED display. It has a voltage resolution of 100 microvolts up to 10 volts, and then moves to 1 millivolt resolution at up to 25 volts, with 100 microamp current resolution. Can display voltage, current and power. You might just get this delivered before Christmas if you're quick. It's a Pi hat that shifts voltages for the WS2812 neopixels. If you're looking for a fairly stable 1 GHz clock, this 1 GHz GPS disciplined clock generator is pretty cheap. It can also be set for several other frequencies up to 10 MHz, but no indication of the accuracy. Back in Weekly Roundup number 43, and also in MickMake Mail number 21, there was the Low 5. Well, now Michael Welling has put it up on Tindie. You can also pick it up from GroupGets as well. Looking to get into Sigfox, this castellated breakout board runs the Wisol WSS FM10RT and also comes with 2 years free access to the Sigfox network. It's a 3.3 volt system and connectivity is over plain old UART. Back in Weekly Roundup number 26, there was the ESP8285 module on Banggood. Well, this Tindie store has a breakout board for them. Good to see another Aussie maker. The Labrador was a crowd supply funded board that provides a 2-channel oscilloscope at 750 kilosamples per second, waveform generator and logic analyzer, as well as a multimeter. Oops, I said it again. Oh, bugger. Capable of measuring voltage, current, resistance and capacitance. So it's not the world's fastest scope, but certainly cheap and reliable. Now you've probably seen the ad for this next one by Dave Darko.
Knight Rider, a Dave Darko Industries batch. Now on Tindie.
There you go and get one. Back in Weekly Roundup number 40, there was the Retro Ball on Kickstarter. Well, now it's up on Tindie. It's a DIY kit allowing you to build your own game of Pong. Oh look, here's another Aussie maker. Excellent. Another clock generator board, but this one is based on the Silicon Labs SI5331A, which is capable of generating clocks from 2.5 kHz to 200 MHz on 8 separate channels. Access is over 3.3 volt logic I2C. This same Tindie store also has a video DAC board, which converts 24-bit RGB pixel data to an analog video signal. Supports up to 180 MHz pixel clock rate over PAL or NTSC on composite, S-video or VGA. Runs off a 5V supply with 3.3V logic. Hackably is another board based on the NRF 52832 Bluetooth chip. Has all the usual goodies such as reset button and LDO, but comes in at a tiny 18x28mm castellated package. And if you're into RetroKit, then one of these is damn handy. It's a shield that allows you to program 28-pin DIP EEPROMs, useful for updating some of the more recent hacked cartridges you can get these days. And over at Adafruit they have a breakout for the UD-A1334 I2S stereo DAC. Logic levels and power can be either 3.3 or 5V and is capable of 96 kHz at 24-bit resolution. Beam is an end-to-end pluggable LED matrix that talks I2C back to a 3.3 or 5V micro. You can connect up to 4 of them together to give you 480 LEDs. After that, I figure the power demand would be too high. If you're looking to build a board with a USB Type-C connector, I found this chip from STMicro. It'll manage USB Type-C power sources or devices with a programmable 600 mA power switch. Essentially, if you want to power your device from USB Type-C, then get one of these. Over at Pololo, there's a number of step-up down voltage regulators with fixed and variable voltage outputs from variable voltage inputs. They're all essentially the same board based on the S9V11 series switching regulator, but with different components. So if you enjoy seeing these roundups, then consider supporting me on Patreon. A video such as this usually takes me 16 to 20 hours to produce, and this eats into income I would be spending working on contracts. I have already many supporters that have been with me for a long time, but more supporters would free up time to provide more videos and content on this channel. I have been offering my patrons the opportunity to vote on upcoming videos, but things have gotten a little out of control the last couple of months, with extra work, and I haven't been able to release as many videos as I'd like. So thanks for your support, thanks for watching, and see you next week.